So this year for our weaving unit, we'll be doing these woven pouches, and they have a drawstring at the top, so you'll actually be able to keep these and use them when you are finished. You see they open, and you'll be able to put whatever you'd like inside and then close it. Many students find that they fit their cell phone. They've used it for change or candy or money, or so a lot of times we've had students that made them and gave them as a gift to someone. So hopefully at the end of this segment you'll understand a little bit more about weaving, so you too can make one of these. Alright, so the first thing I need to explain to you is that weaving is not sewing. If you notice, there are threads in here of yarn, and what they're doing is going over and under threads that you cannot see. So I'm about to show you how to make that happen, and the amazing thing about it is that it is all the way around woven with no front, no back, sides that have to be sewn. So when you get finished, you're basically making a piece of fabric. Okay, so here we have what's called a loom, and for us we're using a cardboard loom for this project. A lot of times when you weave you might use a wooden loom, but for this project we need to use the cardboard. So if you notice, this used to be a Coca-Cola can box. You can use any cardboard that you have, but the thinner that's called paperboard usually works pretty good for us. And I have already made all of your looms for you. Actually, me and a couple of other students worked on these together. So we've got them marked off, and then a little line is cut into it with the scissors on the top and the bottom. And then there's a certain way that the thread gets wrapped around. Now the thread is just a cotton thread, and I like to use one that's really thin, and that way your yarn covers it up. So this is the loom, okay? And these strings that go up and down are called your warp strings. The warp strings are actually like the bones of the whole project. You don't see them unless you pull apart the yarn and look in between. See, there they are. And used to, the piece of cardboard was down inside this project, and so we wove it around and around the cardboard. Now, there's a certain way that you have to do it, and what you'll need is a loom. You'll need to get a needle like this one from the supply area, a loom, and also a plastic Ziploc bag. Now this Ziploc bag will keep your project clean, and it will hold all of your things inside. And you can see here where one of my students has already labeled with her first and last name, and she's put her class period on here. So these will be kept in the crates that we keep your folders in every day when you leave. An important thing that you'll need to make sure you never do: don't cut or poke a hole in this bag so that it will hold your project nice and tight. Be sure you zip it up, but right before it closes, you'll need to push all the air out of it so that it doesn't have a big balloon to it, and that way they will all fit down inside the crate. Alright, the next thing you'll also need to do is label not only the bag, but also your loom. So I'm going to pretend like this is Maddie's loom, and I'm writing Maddie's name, and then I'm putting a 4. Remember, it's always important to write the last name, and I'm going to have to check the spelling here just to make sure I don't mess up. Make sure you also write your last name. Remember, I have lots of students, and so sometimes things get misplaced and mixed up, and that way you're covered. Okay, so we have the loom, it's labeled, and it has our class period. We also have the bag for our project to go in, and the needle. Now the next thing we need is what's called the weft string, W-E-F-T. The weft string is a piece of yarn, and I will have an area that's marked off where you pull that piece of yarn to from our box, and you'll cut it. And the length that I have measured is maybe just about a yard, or maybe a little tiny bit more than a yard. That way you've got a lot to work with, and it's not too much, but at the same time it's not just a little bit either. It'll last you a while. Okay, so you've got the warp string that goes over and under, that makes the side of the bag, the part of the bag that we see, and then you've got the weft strings that go across the loom. Okay, so these are all the things that you need to take care of to put inside your bag. Once you get this done, I need you to use your student learning guide and give me a list. Take a look at what the yarns are in the box, all the different choices and colors to choose from, and decide what colors do you want to make your project. Please list that on your student learning guide and bring it to me and show me your bag that's full of your items so that I know you're ready to move to the next level. And what I will do is sign off on your student learning guide that you've got these materials down inside your bag with the air out, and you're ready for the next step.